A lot of us were told that manifesting our desires is hard, and we believed it, so we keep chasing what we want. We chase money, love, success, and recognition. But the truth is, the harder you chase those things, the further away they seem to get. And at some point, if you are being honest with yourself, you have to stop and ask why. Why does putting in so much effort lead to such little change? Why do some people seem to get what they want with almost no struggle, while others work twice as hard and still end up with nothing? The answer is not about having the right plan. It is not about working harder. It is not luck either. The answer is frequency. And once you really understand what that word means, once you see the real reason why your life responds to you the way it does, everything changes. Most importantly, the way things either flow toward you or away from you will never look the same again. This video is going to show you exactly how that works. This channel is about helping people understand and control the hidden forces that shape their lives. Like and subscribe so you can use this knowledge to your advantage. I am going to tell you what you have been getting wrong, why you have been getting it wrong, what the right order of creating your reality actually is, and the 4 specific things you can do to get into a state so magnetic that your desires stop running away from you and start running toward you. Stay with this until the end. What you are about to understand will completely change how you see the world around you. Let us start with the mistake. And this is a mistake almost every person alive is making right now because it feels like the most normal and logical thing to do, but it is completely backwards. You want something. More money. A loving relationship. A career that actually feels like it belongs to you. So you focus on getting it. You think about it all the time. You take steps toward it. You try to set things up in your life so that it has no choice but to show up. And when it does not come, or when it shows up for a moment and then disappears, you push harder. You try more. You put even more energy into thinking about what you want and wondering why you do not have it yet. This is the backwards way of creating. And it is exactly why the loop never breaks. Here is what is really happening. When you live this way, you are putting your emotional state in the hands of something outside of you. You are saying, once I get the money, then I will feel free. Once I find the relationship, then I will feel loved. Once I hit the goal, then I will feel like I am worth something. You are treating the feeling, the inner experience, as the reward you get after the physical thing arrives. But that is not how life works. Things cannot give you feelings. This is not just a nice idea. It is one of the most well-documented truths in human psychology. When people finally get the thing they spent years chasing, the money, the status, the relationship, the body they wanted, the emotional experience they expected does not show up. Or it shows up for a few days, maybe a few weeks, before they slide right back to where they were before. Because where they were before, the emotional state they lived in daily, the inner set point they operated from, never actually changed. Only the outside thing changed. And changing what is outside of you can never reach deep enough to change the frequency you are running on inside. The reason you want anything in this life is not really about the thing itself. It is about the feeling you believe the thing will bring you. Confidence, freedom, safety, love, peace, being seen and valued. Every single desire, when you follow it all the way down to its root, is a desire for an inner experience. And because that is true, the real work is never about chasing the outside thing. The real work is about building that inner experience directly. Because when you can generate the feeling without needing the outside condition to give it to you first, something powerful begins to happen. The outside condition starts moving toward you on its own. To understand why, you have to understand the actual order in which your reality is created. And this is where most of what people are taught about success and manifestation falls completely flat. Reality is not structured the way it appears from the surface. What we experience as the physical world, the material things of our lives, the situations we find ourselves in, the results we produce, is not what causes our experience. It is the result of our experience. It is the last step in the chain, not the first. The chain moves in this order. Consciousness first, then thought, then the physical world. The inner world comes first. Then the outer world follows. The invisible creates the visible. What is happening inside of you is generating what shows up outside of you. This truth has been spoken in the Hermetic philosophical tradition for thousands of years. The principle of mentalism says that the universe is, at its core, mental, that what appears to us as solid and fixed physical reality is really the outer expression of an inner field of awareness. As within, so without. As above, so below. The ancient teachers were describing the actual mechanics of how things get created. Modern quantum physics has arrived at the same place, just through a different path. At the deepest level of matter, particles do not sit in fixed positions until something observes them. They exist as waves of pure possibility, until the act of observation collapses them into something solid. Consciousness actively takes part in shaping which version of reality shows up. You are not just watching life happen. You are, in a very real sense, participating in building it. You are consciousness. The same creative intelligence that sits behind all of existence is, right now, living inside a physical body called you. You exist on all three levels at once: physical, mental, and at the deepest level, pure consciousness. This is not a belief system you are being asked to adopt. It is the actual structure of what you are, which means that the real cause of everything showing up in your life can be traced back to your frequency, the dominant inner state you are operating from every single day. This is why trying to force results in the outside world without first changing what is happening on the inside never works. You are trying to move the effect while leaving the cause completely untouched. Frequency is not some vague or hard-to-understand idea. Let me be specific about what it actually means in real terms. Everything in the universe moves and vibrates. This is not spiritual language. This is physics. At the quantum level, there is no such thing as truly solid matter. There are only particles vibrating at different rates, and the pattern of that vibration determines what shape they take in the physical world. Your thoughts vibrate. Your emotions vibrate. Your beliefs vibrate. And the combined frequency of your inner life, what you habitually think, feel, and believe, creates a signal that you are sending out into the world around you every single second. That signal determines what your life becomes visible to. Think of it like a radio. A radio set to one frequency can only pick up what is broadcasting on that same frequency. Not because the other stations are gone, but because it is simply not tuned to them. Your frequency works exactly the same way. The things that could shift your life are not absent from your reality. They are already there. But if your inner frequency is locked in fear, in lack, in a constant feeling of not being safe, or not being enough, you are simply not tuned to receive them. They move right past you, invisible, completely out of reach. Another major thing that blocks people from reaching a magnetic frequency is the ego. And when I say ego here, I do not mean being arrogant or full of yourself. I am talking about the survival-based, fear-driven way of operating that most people spend the majority of their lives in. It is the state of constant mental noise, always scanning for what is wrong or missing, getting thrown off balance by whatever is happening around you, always feeling like the world is working against you. When you are in that state, your ability to create is almost completely shut down. You are not building your reality from that place. You are just reacting to whatever comes at you. And reacting keeps you locked inside the same cycle. Same results, same beliefs, same box. Nothing changes because the signal never changes. The magnetic frequency is a high-frequency state. It shows up as quiet on the inside, clarity in how you think, a genuine sense of openness and expansion, and a calm knowing that you are not the product of what happens to you. You are the one producing it. In this state, the creative life force that sits behind all of existence moves through you without anything in the way. It is not blocked by fear. It is not held tight by survival mode. It moves. And when it moves, it pulls in the situations, people, and outcomes that match where you are. This is not magic. This is the law of resonance, doing exactly what it always does. Now let us get specific. Here are the 4 practices that shift you into the magnetic frequency and keep you there. These are not things you do once and forget about. They are ongoing habits. The steady maintenance of a state of consciousness that lets creation work through you instead of against you. The first practice is meditation and stillness. This is not optional, and it is not just about relaxing. Meditation is the specific tool by which you begin to separate your awareness from the ego, from the reactive, fear-driven part of you that has been running your frequency without your permission. When you sit in real stillness every day, something specific happens inside your brain and your energy. The constant stream of reactive thoughts, the mental chatter that keeps your body feeling like it is always under threat, begins to slow down, and as it slows, your awareness begins to come loose from it. You stop being stuck inside your thought patterns and start being able to watch them from a distance. That distance changes everything. Because the moment you can observe a thought instead of being trapped inside it, you have taken back creative control over your own frequency. You are no longer just being dragged along by your mental habits. You are the awareness behind the thoughts, the deeper part of you that can decide which thoughts get fed and which ones get let go. From that place, your frequency naturally rises because you stopped feeding the low-frequency patterns that were pulling it down. 30 minutes of real stillness every morning, no guided audio, no music, just silence. And the practice of returning your attention each time the mind drifts is one of the most powerful things a person can do. The first stretch will feel like chaos. That is just the ego pushing back. Stay with it. What opens on the other side of that resistance is the doorway to the magnetic state. The second practice is nervous system regulation. This is the physical foundation of frequency work, and it is the step most people skip, which is exactly why so many people change how they think about these ideas, without ever seeing any real change in their actual day-to-day lives. Your nervous system is the physical machine your consciousness runs on. When it is stuck in a constant state of high alert, the fight-or-flight response that modern life is very good at keeping switched on, your brain gets flooded with stress chemicals that make it physically impossible to think in high-frequency, creative ways. You cannot reach open, magnetic states of consciousness while your body is scanning for danger. The two cannot exist in the body at the same time. Regulating your nervous system means deliberately sending your body the message that it is safe. Breathwork, slow and steady breathing, turns on the part of your nervous system responsible for rest and receiving. Slowing down physically, spending time in quiet, cutting back on stress-filled media, these are not indulgences. They are the upkeep of the neurological environment where the magnetic frequency can actually take hold and stay. When your nervous system is regulated, something interesting happens. You slow down, and in that slowing, you start to see things that constant busyness was hiding from you. Opportunities become obvious. Your gut instinct becomes clear again. The right next step shows up not because you forced it through endless thinking, but because you became still enough to receive it. The third practice is releasing emotional blocks through shadow work. This is the hardest practice on this list, and it is the one that goes the deepest. Because you can meditate every morning and regulate your nervous system every day, and still find that your frequency keeps hitting a ceiling, a wall that no amount of outer effort seems to break through. That wall is made of old emotional energy that was never dealt with and never released. Shadow work is the practice of bringing into your conscious awareness the parts of yourself that were shaped in moments of pain, fear, or shame. The parts that got pushed down inside you because looking at them felt too threatening. Not to dwell in them, but to see them clearly, understand what they were trying to protect you from, and release the emotional charge that has kept them active and running inside your system. Unprocessed emotion does not go away. It stores itself in the body, in the nervous system, in the part of your mind that operates below your everyday awareness, and it generates a low-frequency signal that quietly undermines everything you are consciously trying to build. A person can set every right intention and take every right action and still find their results being quietly sabotaged by a belief running below the surface. The belief that they do not deserve good things. The belief that being truly seen is dangerous. The belief that success will cost them something they cannot afford to lose. These are not logical thoughts. They were never logical. They were protective responses built by a younger version of you in situations that no longer exist. And they are still running. Shadow work does not require a therapist, though having one can absolutely speed things up. It starts with something simple. The next time you feel a strong emotional reaction, one that feels bigger than what the situation really calls for, pause. Do not push it down. Do not act it out. Ask it a question. What are you trying to protect me from? What do you think is at risk here? What is the fear underneath this feeling? Write the answers down. Say them out loud. The act of bringing what was hidden into the open begins to dissolve its grip on you. Slowly and steadily, the frequency clears. The fourth practice is responding, instead of reacting, to what happens around you. This is the discipline that protects your frequency once the first three practices have lifted it, because the world will test it. Things will happen that seem built to pull you right back into fear and survival mode. A money problem, a hard situation in a relationship, an obstacle that shows up right when things were finally starting to move. In those moments, the automatic response is to let the situation take over your emotional state, to sink back into fear or frustration, to let what is happening outside of you override the inner state you have been working to build. The practice is to pause before you respond. In that pause, see what is actually happening. A circumstance, which is an effect, a lower thing in the chain of creation, is trying to dictate the state of your consciousness, which is the cause, the higher thing. And you, as the creative consciousness, have authority in that moment. You can look at what is happening, acknowledge it without being swallowed by it, and choose your inner state on purpose instead of just letting it be chosen for you. The most powerful thing you can say to yourself in those moments is this: everything that is happening for my growth and my good, not as a way of pretending things are fine when they are not. Not as a performance, as a genuine act of creative authority, a decision that your experience of what is happening is not going to be dictated by the surface of things, and that you are choosing to stay in the frequency of expansion, even when the physical world seems to be telling you something different. This is not giving up or going passive. This is the highest level of creative power a person can use. Here is the truth that holds all of this together. The magnetic frequency is not a rare gift. It is not something certain people are born with that others are not. It is a state of consciousness that is available to every single person who is willing to do the inner work of reaching it and staying there. The 4 practices, daily stillness, nervous system regulation, shadow work, and conscious responding, are the habits that build and hold that state over time. When you are in the magnetic frequency, you are not doing less. You are operating differently. You are working from the cause level of reality instead of running after effects. You are the source of the signal rather than just a receiver picking up whatever the world happens to be sending out. And in that state, the creative life force behind everything, the same force that built this universe from nothing, moves through you freely. It arranges circumstances. It opens doors. It connects you with the people, opportunities, and resources that match where you are vibrating, not as a trick or a shortcut, as the perfectly natural result of a law that has always been working, whether you understood it or not. Your desires are not being kept from you. They exist right now as possibilities inside the same field you are living in. The only thing that has ever stood between you and them is the frequency you have been sending out. Change that frequency, genuinely, from the inside out, and the chase is over. Not because you stopped wanting things, but because you stopped running toward what you want, and became the kind of consciousness it naturally moves toward on its own. If this opened something in you, subscribe to this channel. This is the work we do here. Not surface-level motivation, but a real, grounded understanding of how consciousness creates reality and what it actually takes to operate from a level where your inner world shapes your outer one. Until next time.